What's going on, guys? It is day 26 of no gambling. Um, I haven't posted this week. I got the flu. It seems like where I live right now, everybody's either had or is coming down with or, just got over something. So, yeah, I got the flu. It was pretty freaking bad. So I just didn't feel like doing anything at all. I had to take this week off of work, and I just basically just laid on the couch and watched movies all day. But I'm starting to feel a bit better now. Thankfully, like the fever and everything's come down now. I just kind of have a cough, but I'm hoping that it's on the way out. But 25 days, no gambling. And one thing that I kind of wanted to say was, I mean, being sick, home alone this whole week, the old me definitely would have been gambling. And I didn't gamble at all. So that's pretty huge. And I know that this is kind of like what a classic trope or cliche or whatever, but it's definitely true that the longer that you go without it, the less that you crave it, right? So that's become a lot better. Like I'm not getting that urge, that voice. I used to always have a voice in my head, and it's like the what if voice, right? Because logically you know that gambling is always a losing prospect. In the long term you're always going to lose, right? We know this. We know casino odds are stacked against us, but it's that what if, right? It's the hope. um, and this is like my therapist, for example, has made it clear, or put in effort to express to me that gamblers are not addicted to winning money. They're addicted to the feeling of hope that you get, but in that time when you place the bet and you find out the result, that's what you're addicted to. You're not addicted to the result of winning money. You're addicted to that feeling of anticipation for that win, right? And your brain tricks you into this hope, right? Like, what if, oh, I know I'm going to lose, but what if I don't? What if today's the day I get lucky and I get a big win and all my problems will be solved? So, anyways, I've really found that thought process has subsided a lot, the longer that I've gone without. So that's great. Um, I wanted to today read through a couple of comments from the last video and just kind of answer them, because there was a couple good comments. People were asking some questions. Unfortunately, when I posted a broken link for the Discord in the raw last video, so I updated that. It should be working invite link now, and I'll make sure that it's working on the current video as well. But I'm going to bring up some comments here and address a couple of topics. So let me see here. So we got one. Curious to know, beyond the YouTube channel, what other steps have you taken to get a handle on your addiction? So big thing was like, first I got a therapist, because I needed to tell somebody, and I was too embarrassed to tell my family. I had, back when it was initially a big problem. If you've listened to my story, you know that I got into it really bad. I kind of hit a rock bottom, and I was able to quit for about 6 to 8 months, and then I relapsed. So before I initially quit, when I was in that rock bottom period, I did tell my girlfriend that I was struggling and then that I needed to stop. And she knew that I was, because at the time, at first I was open about the fact that I was gambling online. But the more that I got into the addiction, the more that I started trying to hide it, because I was doing it so much that it was clearly no longer just like a fun thing to do in your spare time, no harm, no foul, and it was becoming a problem, right? So the fact that I was trying to hide it was a big indication. So she didn't really know the extent. She knew I was gambling, but she didn't know it was a problem. But I did. She was the first person that I ever told, um, you know, I'm I'm doing it too much and I need to stop. So she was the first person that I told, but I didn't like get into all of the nitty gritty details of just how bad it is and the specific numbers and everything that I've kind of spoken about in that first video of my story. So I was good for a while, 6 to 8 months, and then when I got back into it after a little while, losing more money and sinking back into the hole, that's when I realized, like, okay, this is bigger than just a problem that I can tackle myself. I need to um, talk to somebody about it, somebody that's a professional, and somebody that I know, somebody that's kind of disconnected, that I know is not going to have a judgment, that can help me with it, that will be objective. So it can be very embarrassing, like, to talk about this to your family, your friends. So I hired a therapist. Okay, that was a big thing, and it definitely helped. When I went to the first therapy session, I felt like a massive weight was lifted off of my shoulder after I walked out of that session. Like, I was close to being moved to tears by the sense of relief that I felt. Just being able to, I had never just sat down and told somebody, like, this is exactly how much, money I'm in debt, and this is exactly what I've done, and this is how bad the problem it is. Black and white terms, no sugarcoating, right? So that was the first thing that I did. Um, and then, well, not long after that, mothers being how mothers are, they know their children well. And my mother just guessed it. She said she was watching some piece on the news where they were talking about how online gambling is becoming a big problem for young men. It was like a news story. And she watched this news story and she was able to connect the dots between that news story and my behavior over the last year or so, or just how I was, yeah, how I was behaving. And so there was one day where she called me up and she said she needed to talk to me, and she was just like, "Do you have a gambling addiction?" I was like, "No." I was like, "Yeah." I mean, in that moment, I confessed, right? But amazing how mothers can just detect that, because I never asked anybody to, some people start asking friends to borrow money, start getting shady and things like that. I never asked anybody to borrow money. I never asked her to borrow money, lend me anything. Any of those, like, obvious indicators weren't present, but she saw that story on the news and she put the dots together and she asked me, and I had to fess up. So, my girlfriend, and then the therapist, and then my mother knowing. So I guess, my support circle slowly grew a little bit. And again, that was a huge relief too, because, like I said, it's embarrassing to share with your family. So when she kind of just took the initiative and forced me into it, it forced me to um, get that off my chest, as far as between me and her as well, which was, the more that you try to hide and the more that you try to lie or suppress or avoid, the worse that you feel, because you just bottle everything up inside, right? So that was definitely huge. Um, Other things, I mean, I've said this before, but self exclusion was 100% essential for getting over the initial hump, because I have a ritual where I sit down, I go on the computer, I start looking up the casinos, and if I'm able to log in, I will fucking gamble. Like, it's basically just gonna happen, right? If I look it up and I go to log in and it says you're excluded, and I click the next link and I'm excluded, and the next link and I'm excluded, and I go and I go and I go and I go and everything's blocked. Well, the longer that you have time between you and the gambling, the easier it is to not end up gambling, right? So you're putting blocks between you and the betting. So that was the other thing. Self exclude everything. 100%. 100% was crucial for me. Without the self-exclusion, I will come back for more. And if you are playing on CS:GO sites, many of them have self-exclusion, but not all of them do. There's some sites that, there are one or two sites where I contacted their support and I said, hey, I need you to exclude me. And they gave me some BS about, oh, it's against our policy, blah, blah, we can't do that because of our filing or some crap, which really pissed me off because, well, if I couldn't exclude, then I was just going to keep gambling, right? So for sites, if you cannot self-exclude, here's what you do. You set up a two-factor authentication with the Google Authenticator app on your phone, and then you delete the authenticator code in your phone. And that way you can never log in to that site ever again because it's going to say, hey, you need to put your code in. Guess what? The code's gone, okay? So that's a tip if you are playing on some like sketchy sites that don't allow self-exclusion. And often you'll find, like, if you're in the online gambling space, it's like as time goes on, you'll get into more like obscure and like worse quality online casinos because, maybe you've gone and like excluded from the big ones, but then you're going to see where else you can bet, right? So a little tip for you there: use the self-exclusion, use the two-factor authentication, and delete the codes. But yeah, aside from that, this channel has been really helping me out. But I would say, the keys are the self-exclusion, and trying to have an actual support circle, opening up, sharing with anybody that you can, anybody that you start with, somebody you feel comfortable with, if that's a therapist, if that's a stranger online, and kind of work your way to the people that are closer to you. Because the people that are closer to you, yes, it will be more difficult to have that conversation. Like, it sucks. Nobody wants to tell their parents or their spouse or their best friend that they fucked up and that they lost this money and that they've done this to themselves. But it also goes both ways. Yes, it will be a harder conversation, but those people are also the closest to you that will be able to give you the most support, that will be there in your corner no matter what, hopefully. So yeah, that's what I would say for that one. Let me see what else we got here in the comments. So somebody said that they're getting slot machine app ads on my videos. And this is weird because, as far as I know, my channel is not even yet qualified for monetization. So I'm not sure why YouTube's putting ads. Maybe because, and it's funny. Actually, the first video that I made, it got flagged and taken down for promoting gambling, being an anti-gambling video. Freaking. Anyways, I appealed it. I guess the AI detected it and just took it down because I was talking about, maybe I mentioned a specific slot or something. I know now you're not allowed to say any of the names of these sites and stuff on YouTube, which is BS, by the way, because they tell you that you can't say the name of any specific casinos, but then every single advertisement is advertising casinos. So I don't know what they think they're doing with that. But anyways, if anybody can give me some info on, why there would be ads on my videos when I haven't done anything yet. I don't think I'm yet qualified to monetize. And even if I was, I haven't set that up. So I don't know why there would be ads. And if somebody can give me some guidance on, like, are there ways that I can restrict what ads are allowed to be played in front of my videos? Because I definitely don't want to be having pro gambling ads in front of my anti-gambling videos. Kind of intuitive. So I'm sorry if you watched my videos and got ads for gambling. One thing that I've been doing, because I get annoyed with this as well, right? I watch a lot of YouTube. Recently, I've been trying to skew my algorithm away from the gambling, because my feed used to be just like all kinds of gambling streamers, CS streamers. That was probably like 60-70% of my feed on YouTube was like, Exposed, Trainwrecks, to name, guys like that are just gambling content creators. So I started unsubscribing from a lot of those channels because I don't want to be getting fed that information. And then on top of that, so many of the advertisements that I get on YouTube are casino advertisements. So I've just started one by one. Every time I get an ad for a casino, I just block the ad. Block, 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 block. I feel like a broken telephone. It's like I got to do it all the time. And initially, it seemed like it wasn't doing anything. Like I would block an ad and then I would still get that same ad. But now, after blocking the gambling ads consistently, every time I see them, I block them for like a week straight. I'm not getting as many anymore. Way, way, way less. So I'm going to continue doing that. I would also suggest that you guys do that because, I mean, that can be literally all that it takes. You could be trying not to, and you see that opportunity, and that's all that it takes for you to slip up, right? So that would be my advice for now. If you see gambling ads, block them. The reason why you're getting gambling ads, if you're getting a lot of them, generally is because the algorithm already knows that you're somebody that's participating with online casinos and all this kind of stuff. So if you can just hammer it into the algorithm that you don't want this, not interested in this content, it's going to help. But if anybody that's like an ad expert, because if I'm being completely honest, I'm not super tech savvy, can let me know like if there's any way that I can restrict the kinds of advertisements that get shown on these videos and why they'll be showing without the monetization in place. I would greatly appreciate it. Just drop it in a comment below. Thank you very much. Let me see if there's anything else. Just found your channel today. Keep it up. It's going to be worth it for sure. I'm definitely planning to follow along and stop killing myself too. That's great, brother. Keep it going. Taking a weekend job is so great. Going back to old hobbies and interest really helped me when I was having a hard time, and plus that will eat into your debt. So I'm rooting for you 100%. So yeah, I'm not working this weekend because of this goddamn flu. Last thing that I want to be is out in the cold all day long doing strenuous exercise, because that's what the job is when you're coaching ski racing. But yeah, so this weekend, unfortunately, I'm not going to get paid, but it's okay. I'm not going to lose money. I'm not gambling. And yes, it will help me keep preoccupied, help me make more money, and fill in my time with something productive. So thank you for that comment. I think that's all. I think that's all the comments that I really want to address. 99% of the comments are super positive, and I appreciate all of you. But every so often, you get some douchebag or troll that's just like, ugh, posting some crap in the comments. Anyways, I'm just like removing those when I see them and blocking them because I don't want you guys to see them as well. Some people are real pieces of shit, but all you can do is focus on yourself, right? So, day 25. Thanks again for everybody. I'm going to make sure that the link is actually functional for anyone that wants to join the Discord. So apologies for a couple people that commented on the last one that they weren't able to join. I just today went and got a link and put it in, so it should be all working. And yeah, I'm going to look into this advertisement thing because I don't know what's going on with that, but hopefully I can get that sorted out. But yeah, I hope everybody has a great weekend. I hope everybody out there is staying strong. I know I haven't been super active in the Discord myself this last week. It's just when the flu has been pretty bad. Like I'm way better today than I got it on Tuesday, and it's been like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, just completely out of commission. And when I'm like that, I don't want to talk to anybody. I just like sit on the couch and just watch my movies and just wait it out and drink Gatorade. So anyways, everybody have a great weekend, and I'll catch you again next week. Peace out.